Chioma and Eshe were sisters, daughters of the same poor widow. But after burying Chioma, her mother's own brother, Uncle Ejike, came back to marry Eshe. Eshe lived with her little sister, Chioma, and their mama. Their papa had died, and they were very poor. They stayed in a small broken house at the end of the village, but they loved each other a lot. That morning the house was very quiet, not the good kind, the sad kind. Eshe stood at the door of her mama's room. Her mama sat on the bed, holding a black scarf. The scarf used to belong to Chioma, Eshe's little sister, but Chioma was not there anymore. She was in the village mortuary. She had died. Chioma got very sick. One day she was too hot. The next day, too cold. They took her to the clinic, but the doctor said, "I'm sorry, it's too late." Even though Chioma was gone, they still had to pay money for her coffin, for her grave, for food at the funeral. Eshe was only 21. She had no job, no money, only a sad heart and a mama who was too tired to stand. Eshe went to many homes, asking for help, from cousins, from neighbors. But everyone was also poor. Some said, "We'll pray for you." Others just stayed quiet. That evening, when the sun was going down, a big black car came into their dusty yard. It was Uncle Ejike. He was tall, big, and wore a clean white kaftan. His gold watch was shiny. He looked rich. He hugged Eshe's mama and whispered something in her ear. Then he turned to Eshe. "I will help," he said. "You mean Chioma's burial?" Eshe asked. "Yes. Everything," he said. He put a fat envelope on their table. "You are my family. Chioma will have an honorable burial." The next day, Chioma was buried in a shiny white coffin. People in the village said, "Uncle Ejike is a good man. He takes care of his family." Eshe stood by the grave, feeling strange. She was thankful, but also confused. Something didn't feel right. That night, before the lights went out, her mama called her. "Your uncle wants to talk to you tomorrow, alone," her mama said. Eshe nodded. She didn't think too much about it. She didn't know what he was going to say. The next morning, roosters crowed. People walked past the house. Eshe slowly swept the front yard. She still felt sad about Chioma. The black scarf was still on her head. Her mama had not eaten much. At noon, Uncle Ejike came again. This time, he had no gifts, no money, just himself. He greeted them and said, "Eshe, come with me." Mama gave a small nod. She didn't look at her. They sat under the big mango tree. Chioma used to play there. Uncle Ejike spoke. His voice was soft. "You are a strong girl, Eshe. You've carried your family's sadness well." She stayed quiet. He stared at her for a long time. "I paid for the burial. I gave your mother money. I helped." "Yes, Uncle, thank you," Eshe said quietly. He smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. It felt heavy, different. Eshe did not know that the man who builds a bridge will one day ask to cross it. "Now," Uncle Ejike said, "we need to talk about what comes next." Eshe looked up. She didn't understand. "You're not a small girl anymore," he said slowly. "You're a woman now, and I have been alone for many years." Eshe's hands held her broom tighter. "What are you saying?" she asked in a small voice. Uncle Ejike leaned close to her. "I want to marry you, Eshe. It's not just a question. It's what must happen now. The family will understand. After all, you belong to me." Everything felt like it was turning in Eshe's head. "You are my uncle," she said, her voice shaking. "You are not my blood," he said fast. "You are from your father's side. I am your mother's brother." It is aloud. Eshe's heart beat very fast. She stood up slowly. "I never said I will pay you back by marrying you." Uncle Ejike stood too. He cleaned dust off his sleeve. "Your mother knows already. She said yes. She gave her blessing. Do you know how many girls wish they could live in my house? You will never suffer again." As she looked at him, she couldn't believe her ears. "Is this why you helped us?" He didn't say anything. He just turned and walked away. He left her standing under the mango tree. The same tree where Kioma used to play and laugh. Now there was only silence. That evening, the smell of boiled yam and bitter leaf soup filled the air. But no one felt hungry. Eshe sat near the window. Her knees were up to her chest. The shadows outside were long. They covered the place where Kioma used to sit and braid her hair. She heard her mother's voice. Soft. Tired. "Eshe, come." Eshe stood up slowly. Her body felt heavy. Her heart felt heavier. She walked into the room and closed the curtain. Her mama sat on the floor, legs folded, a wrapper tied around her chest. Her face looked much older than it did yesterday. Grief had drawn deep lines on it. "I know," Eshe said, before Mama could speak. "He told me." Mama nodded. "I couldn't stop him," she whispered. "He said we owe him, and... Eshe, I have nothing left. Nothing to give." Eshe knelt down. Her hands were shaking. "You said yes?" Mama's eyes filled with tears. "I said... I trust him. I thought maybe it would give you a better life. A life better than this one." She looked around the poor, quiet room. Better than begging. Eshe turned her face away. The silence sat between them like a stone. Outside, crickets chirped. Far away, an old man coughed. "Kioma just died," Eshe whispered, voice breaking. "And now you want me to marry your own brother?" Mama shook her head. "He says you're not blood. He says it's okay." "But is it right?" Eshe asked, looking into her mother's face. Mama didn't speak. She only touched Eshe's hand gently, like that would take away what was already done. Outside, the gate creaked, footsteps, laughing voices. Uncle Ejike had come back, this time with 2 old men and a folded wrapper. He had brought the bride price. No one had asked Eshe if she wanted to be a bride. They just needed her to wear the dress. The wedding was quiet. Eshe didn't look like a bride. She looked like someone being prepared for burial. They say in Nigeria, when the drum beats too loud, something big is about to happen. And on that day, there was no music, but the silence roared. The pastor read the vows in a soft, low voice, like even he didn't feel good about what was happening. Eshe wore a borrowed white gown. It had been used by 3 other women. The lace was torn. The veil looked yellow from old age. Someone had pinned fake flowers to her scarf, but the flowers drooped in the heat. Uncle Ejike stood tall, proud, wearing a big, rich agbada. He smiled the whole time, like this had always been his plan. People from the village watched. Some whispered, "At least she will be taken care of." Others shook their heads, but no one said a word, not out loud. No one dared speak against a rich man like Ejike. After the vows, there was no party, no dancing, no food, only a slow walk home. Eshe's mother stayed quiet. She didn't look up. She didn't follow them inside the house. She didn't want to know what would happen next. Inside the room, Eshe sat on the bed like a stone. The room was clean, but it felt cold. A small candle burned in the corner. Shadows danced on the walls like they were sad. Uncle Ejike walked in and closed the door. He took off his big agbada slowly and folded it neatly. Then he looked at Eshe. "You didn't tell me congratulations," he said with a small laugh. Eshe said nothing. He sat beside her on the bed and spoke again. "Do you know," he said, "I once asked your mama to marry me, but she said no. She chose your papa." He smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Now look, I still got what I wanted." Eshe's eyes grew big. "You wanted mama?" she asked, shocked. "I still do," he said. "But now she's old, so I married you instead." He touched her cheek. She didn't move. She didn't cry. She just closed her eyes, and that night, in the same house where Kioma used to laugh and run, Eshe became a wife, not because of love, not because she wanted to, but because of what her family owed. Ejike didn't touch her again after that night. He barely spoke to her. He stopped coming home most days. One morning, Eshe woke up and found his bag gone. His shoes gone. Even his wristwatch was gone. He had vanished. She waited. 1 day, 2 days, 1 week. Nothing. Then, a letter arrived. Not a love letter, not a sorry letter. It was from a man she didn't know. He said, "Your husband has handed you over to me. I paid well. You now belong to me." Eshe's chest tightened. She ran to her mother's room, waving the letter. "Mama, what is this? Who is this man?" Her mother stared at the letter, then looked away. "Ejike said he was sending you to the city. To live better," she whispered. Eshe's heart broke into pieces. "Mama, you knew?" Her mother cried. "He promised you'd be rich. He said you were not his wife anymore, that he had found someone else. A Yoruba proverb says, 'A goat does not bite, but when pushed too far, it shows its teeth.' And then she was forcefully taken into a car by that man. The road was long. Eshe sat in the back of the old car, her small bag on her lap. No one told her where they were going. A quiet man drove the car. Madame Lyo sat in front, chewing gum and talking on the phone. She didn't say a word to Eshe. After many hours, they reached a big house. Not a mansion, but big. Tall gates, thick walls, windows with bars. 2 girls peeked out from a window. Upstairs, when Eshe stepped out of the car, one of them quickly closed the curtain. "Come," Madame Lyo said, walking fast. Inside, the air smelled like strong perfume, and something burnt. There were girls everywhere, some sitting, some cleaning, some just staring. No one smiled. "Room 3, Madame Lyo pointed. "You stay there." Eshe walked slowly. The room was small, with 1 bed and a metal cupboard. The walls had writing on them, names, dates. She sat on the bed. It was hard. No pillow, no blanket. The door didn't have a lock, from inside. Later that evening, another girl came in. She looked about 17. Her name was Aisha. She sat beside Eshe and whispered, "You're new." Eshe nodded. "You're scared?" Eshe didn't answer. Aisha looked at her gently. "I was too. 2 years ago. But crying doesn't help here." Eshe looked up. "What is this place?" Aisha sighed. "It's not a home. It's not a school. It's not a job. It's where men come." Eshe's heart jumped. She stood up. "I don't want to be here." "None of us do," Aisha whispered. "But once you're brought here, you don't leave, unless someone pays double what they gave for you." Eshe sat back down, shaking. "Ejike gave you away?" Aisha asked. Eshe nodded slowly. Aisha sighed again. You're not the first. You won't be the last. That night, Eshe couldn't sleep. The lights never went off. She heard crying from room 4. She heard laughing from outside. The candle in her heart was burning out. The next morning, Madame Leo called her. "This is Mr. Klaus," she said, pointing to a tall foreign man with yellow hair and light skin. "He owns the house. Be nice." Mr. Klaus smiled, but it wasn't kind. He touched Eshe's chin. "Pretty girl," he said in a funny voice. Eshe pulled back. Madame Leo slapped her. "Don't be foolish." Eshe's eyes filled with tears. "Mr. Klaus laughed and walked away. That night, Aisha told her, he picks who he likes. He sells the rest." "Where do they go?" Eshe asked. Aisha looked down. "Some never come back." Eshe felt cold all over. In the days that followed, Eshe was given new clothes. Short, tight, not the kind she liked. She refused to wear them. She was locked in her room for 2 days. They didn't give her food, just water. On the 3rd day, Madame Leo came back with a warning. "If you don't behave, you'll be sent to the upstairs rooms. No one wants to go there." Eshe didn't ask what that meant. She already knew it wasn't good. That night, Eshe cried for the first time. Not just because of fear, but because she knew no one was coming. No one was looking. She was not missing. She had been given. And like an African proverb says, when the roots are forgotten, the fruit falls too, easily. She had been plucked from her soil. And now, she was fighting, not to rot. They say the girls who enter that house never leave. But where do they go? What happens to the ones Mr. Klaus doesn't like? And what dark truth is hidden in the upstairs rooms? In part 2, Eshe is about to discover what happens to the brides who disappear. And when she finds out, it'll be too late to run. Stay tuned.